What's going on, everybody? Jolt here from the TokenMinorities, and after a hard-fought victory against the Atlanta Braviaries in Week 1, we are back with the team building video for our Week 2 matchup against Bacchius Battles and the New England Patrats, and I am excited for this match. I'm sure he is as well. I was his first opponent in the league last season whenever he joined mid-season, and I beat him pretty handily based upon some pretty questionable plays on his end, and I'm expecting him to do a lot better this week, as one, he has a better team in my opinion, and two, he is obviously much more experienced in the league now than he was in his first match ever against me last season. So here we go, diving into the team building process. Just like last week, this video will be talking about how I built the team, kind of analyzing his team a little bit, and then the actual battle itself will be posted tomorrow on Wednesday for you guys' viewing pleasure, and let's hope I come out on top this week just like I did last week. So looking at his team, he has Mega Lopunny, Rotomwash, Gengar, Gliscor, Scizor, Blissey, Volcarona, Nidoking, Breloom, Gardevoir, and Spiritomb. Now that is a threatening team, to say the least. It's very threatening. Lots of offensive threats, and he even has a very stout defensive core, including Spiritomb, Blissey, not Gengar, Gengar defensive, I hope not, Gliscor, and Rotomwash. So he's got a good team, and I'm going to have to prepare pretty well to be able to beat it, as he does have some mons that are very scary for my team in particular. Most notably Gengar and Nidoking. Both can give my team a lot of trouble if I don't prepare accordingly. And even so, even with proper preparation, Gengar is a huge threat to my team. So that's something that I'm actually really worried about. And I'm going to have to run a lot of rogue knockoffs on my Pokemon to be able to combat it effectively, in addition to some other cheeky strategies that I'll talk about here in a little bit as I describe my team. So some other notable threats on his team. The Mega Lopunny is always a threat, even though my defensive core and Mega Venusaur, Clefable, and Skarmory all handle it pretty well. It's still a threat just due to how fast it is and how strong it is, and just based upon that fact alone, I have to play carefully around it, even if my walls do handle it rather well. Rotomwash also can be an issue just because of the fact that it can spam Will-O-Wisp against my team with relative ease, as I only have my own Rotom Heat to absorb the Will-O-Wisp, which I don't really want to switch in against a Rotomwash, obviously, and I would be forced to run Heal Bell on my Clefable if I wanted to have any chance of getting burns off my other mons. So I have to play carefully around the Rotomwash as well. And then he also does have several answers to my Clefable, which is kind of unfortunate, meaning that I won't be able to really attempt a Clefable sweep this week, as he does have Gengar, Nidoking, and Scizor, all of which are just great against Clefable. So he's got some threats. So let's go ahead and jump into the team building process. Alright, so immediately upon looking at his team, I recognized that my primary defensive core, the mons that I drafted in the first, second, and third rounds of the Season 3 NPL draft, are very good against his team, those being Mega Venusaur, Clefable, and Skarmory. So, without a doubt, I'll be bringing those three mons in this game. And then from there, I'll have to work with my offensive options to find out what I have that can break down his defensive core and of course sweep through the remainder of his wall. So that's the overall thought in building this team. So I'll begin by talking about the defensive core, starting off with Groot the Mega Venusaur. And I noticed that a standard Mega Venusaur would actually be very effective against his team, as he doesn't have many answers to it whatsoever. I would say that his best answers to it are Gardevoir and maybe Nidoking, and I don't think those are very solid answers. Obviously Gardevoir could be a threat, but Gardevoir really is pretty bad against the rest of my team. So I think Mega Venusaur was pretty much a no-brainer in this matchup, just based upon that fact alone, and that's just the standard set. But I decided that it would be my best interest to use Mega Venusaur more as a method of taking out some of the bigger threats to my team. And in doing so, I'll be bringing Knockoff, Hidden Power Fire, and Leaf Storm. Now, Leaf Storm is there such that I can guarantee Oko a defensive Rotom with max HP and no special defense investment with Leaf Storm. So that's the idea with that. I don't need any special attack investment to be able to pull that off. And if I can get rid of Rotom early before it starts burning me, I would really appreciate that. As I did EV this Mega Venusaur to outspeed a Rotom that speed creeps Jolly Azumarill, and that's the standard spread that is on the Smoke Damage calc. And just due to, I guess, my impressions of Bacchius in his recent battles, I'm not really sure how he EVs his mons, as he hasn't done like a team building overview or anything like that. I don't think he's even posted a video actually of his NPL battles at this point, so I really don't have much information on him. and I don't want to, I guess, overestimate my opponent in that regard, so I'm going to pack enough speed on this Mega Venusaur to at least speed creep the standard set on this Smogon Damage Calc. So that's why I have so much speed investment on this, and I should be able to outspeed Defensive Rotom with ease, and Oko with Leaf Storm. The Hidden Power Fire obviously there for the Scizor, knockoff there to get some nice damage on the Gengar, as I need as much damage as I can on that Gengar so that it's not going to just sweep through my entire team. So that's the idea with Mega Venusaur. It's going to be my primary switch-in for Gengar, primary switch-in for Nidoking, and obviously a switch-in for Breloom, and it can probably take hits from the majority of the rest of his mons to Bard Gardevoir, of course. So that's the first mon. Next up is Star-Lord, the Clefable. This is going to be my #1 answer to Volcarona. Now, I actually don't expect him to bring Volcarona this game, just because I have a Clefable that can run unaware, and if Volcarona is not able to set up Quiver Dances, it's really a non-factor. So I don't know, but just based upon the fact that Volcarona is such a threat, he could bring it, and there's no way I'm going to go into this battle without an unaware Clefable with Hidden Power Rock to combat the Volcarona. So that's the idea with this. I'm packing Moonblast such that I can dish a big chunk of damage to the Spiritomb and Mega Lopunny, and I also have Psychic such that I can peg the incoming Gengar switch-in, which I'm expecting to be his primary switch into Clefable, and I want, again, to have a method of weakening the Gengar significantly every time he wants to try to switch it in to break one of my walls. So that's the idea with this mon. Full special defensive investment again, such that I can best take hits from the Gengar and the Rotom Wash. So next up is the Iron Man himself, Skarmory. Full defensive investment with an Impish Nature, with Stealth Rock, Defog, Roost, and Brave Bird. This will be my primary switch into Mega Lopunny. It's a decent switch, or very good switch into Scizor as well, I should say. If it's an SD Roost Scizor, then I'll have to explore other options. I have other ways of dealing with that. I'm not terribly concerned about that. And this also is a decent switch into non-Swords Dance variants of Gliscor, at least as a pivot through Gliscor. So that's the idea with this set, and there's really not much else to say here. This is pretty standard. So now we moved on to the sweepers, and this part I really struggled with a lot, as I have a lot of sweepers on my team, and each of them are kind of good at their own little thing. So I had to just work through them a little bit and find out what would be the most effective combination against his walls, and which of my sweepers would have the best chance of sweeping through his sweepers later in the game. And I decided on Dragonite, Porygon Z, and Tornadus I. Now, these three sweepers are probably the most versatile sweepers I had in my arsenal, and that's actually really, really big in this matchup, as just the Blissey. The Blissey is the problem. I could bring pretty much any of my sweepers if he didn't have a Blissey, but because he has the Blissey, I have to bring 3 mons that can hit both on the physical side and the special side with incredible power, and these 3 definitely fill that role. So starting off with Hawkeye the Dragonite, this is an expert belt set with pretty interesting EV spread here. I believe, I'm trying to remember what I had the speed investment for. I think it might have been, I don't know my level 50 speed tiers very well, so it's kind of difficult at the moment. But I believe I wanted to outspeed. I don't think it's Nidoking, probably Gliscor. I think I outsped a standard special defensive Gliscor with this set, the standard one on the damage calc, and if he speed creeps that, so be it. I do have multi-scale, which will allow me to eat up a hit even if something does outspeed me, and dish out an appropriate super effective move. Here I have Ice Beam, Flamethrower, Superpower, and Extreme Speed, all attack options that are very, very good against this team. I'm not bringing Stab, Dragon Claw, or Outrage because there's no point. He doesn't have a Dragon. There's absolutely no point to bring that, and Dragonite's other coverage options were just way too good to pass up. I do have Superpower here, of course, for the Mega Lopunny, and I am somewhat expecting him to at least consider the fact that I could be an inner focus Dragonite, and that could dissuade him from going for Fake Out against my Dragonite with his Mega Lopunny, and that could be an easy opportunity to just go for the Superpower and take it out. So that's just kind of a thought in the back of my mind. I could act upon that. I probably won't, just because that's really dangerous, but I could act upon it. Something to keep in mind. Extreme Speed is there again for the Mega Lopunny because it's pretty frail. It'll do a lot of damage to it. and it's also good against the Nidoking, as this is going to be really my best check to Nidoking, I should say. No, it's not my best check. It's one of my checks to Nidoking, and we'll just kind of see how it goes in that regard. Ice Beam, of course, for the Gliscor, as that's always a threat, always a nuisance. I had it on my team last season, and it was just so annoying to everyone. I loved it. And then Flamethrower for the Scizor, of course. Next up, we have Slick Rick, the Porygon Z, this week coming in with a mixed set, download boosted Silk Scarf with Ice Beam, Tri-Attack, Return, and Dark Pulse. Now this is EV'd such that it outspeeds Timid Nidoking by 1. It is guaranteed to 2-hit KO a Blissey, fully defensive Blissey, without Stealth Rocks, I believe. If I have a +1 attack boost from download, with return, of course. So, and of course the remainder goes into special attack such that I can maximize the damage output on the remainder of his team. So I think this thing could, again, be a win condition this week. Not quite the sweeping potential, I believe, that my Double Dance set had last week, but I believe just the underrated nature of this mon will definitely give me an edge this week, as I don't know if Bacchius will know what this thing is capable of, especially with download boosted returns. I think this will get the KO on Blissey this week. That's my bold prediction. This mon will get the KO on Blissey this week, and we will see what happens there. Now, the last mon is Thor, the Tornadus Eye. I decided to bring, again, a very versatile set. It's a very fast Pokemon. It's one of my few, I guess I have three options, I believe, in Alakazam, Greninja, and this that can outspeed Gengar, and I decided that this was my best option here, as it also has access to Superpower, which again is great for the Blissey. It's going to let me bop that early, well, maybe not early, but it'll give me an option to bop that late, plus with the Defiant boost, if he does decide to defog on me or run Icy Wind or something, I'll be able to have a +2 attack boost, even powering up my knockoffs and superpowers more. Hurricane is just the stab of choice as the strongest option in that slot, and Hidden Power Grass is there to hit the Rotom, such that Rotom is in no way a safe switch into this. So that's the team, guys. I put a lot of thought into this as well, and while I don't think it's quite as solid of a team as my team was last week, I do think it's going to be effective enough to get the job done, hopefully with a rather sizable differential as well. So stay tuned for the video tomorrow. Get hyped, because week 2 is here, and we are looking to move to 2-0. We will see you tomorrow, guys. Peace.